Richard Thompson, and that's from 1,000 Years of Popular Music. And I just looked to see, I thought I'll have a search through here to see when I got it, and there's a big badge on the front saying 2006. Blimey, have I been here that long? Yeah. Yes, I have, because there's a gentleman sitting here in front of me, and his name is Gus Glynn.
It is. Hello.
Thank you. I wrote it down to make sure I learnt it. And the last time Gus visited this programme was in when?
2009.
I know. Where have you been?
I know, much longer than I would have thought.
Yes.
Until we looked into it and realised it was 2009.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Did you not like it last time you came?
It must have been something like that. I thought it was last week. You know? So, a lot has happened in that time. I've done I became a full-time musician for one thing, which was great. I found myself in a position where I was able to take a gamble on myself being fully self-employed as a musician and music teacher. Thankfully that's worked out. And I'm playing with my band. I'm playing the folk show Roots to Classics, which has some traditional Irish and then some, the story of acoustic music from my perspective, first hearing Irish folk and then hearing English folk from the folk revival of the 70s, people like Yanch and the amazing Richard Thompson. Thanks for playing him before me, by the way. No pressure. But no, I love to listen to Richard Thompson. And I saw him earlier this year, actually, in Manchester. And then the show goes through to some stuff that I play as acoustic covers these days, more kind of contemporary stuff. And some of my own songs in there. So there's that show, and then there's acoustic covers gigs, and there's gigs that I did over last weekend, which would be Irish folk. So I get to do that at times like St. Patrick's weekend and when people ask me to play purely Irish sets. So I'm keeping busy.
It sounds like it. Gosh, how was COVID for you? Was it just back to teaching online and things?
Yes. I moved into a house just before COVID, and I had a lot of work to do on it. So that kept me busy to a degree. And that I was teaching online, so I could do that. And that was quite good, actually. That works quite well. I have to be very prepared for classes. So it made sure that I had my notes done before the class, and it was quite good. Made me think about things and prepare a bit more. But it was very interesting, and it was a very dark time for everybody, really. So it kind of led to my writing the album that I'll be playing some songs from today, and it made me a bit more introspective again, because I had been writing for my band, and we like to play blues and blues rock, so that's much more outgoing perspective, Come on, everybody, and let's rock out a little bit, So this was much more introspective and kind of trying to work out your own emotions in that weird space, that we all occupied at that time.
Yeah. You said you live in Nantwich, did you?
Northwich. I live in a little village called Barnton, just beside Northwich, outside Northwich, yeah.
But you're from...
Galway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm from Salt Hill in Galway. So I grew up just by the sea, and I spent a lot of time in Connemara, because that's where I used to like to go when I had a full day to myself. I'd cycle out to Connemara, and I spent a lot of time listening to trad music there and around Galway as well. And that really informed a lot of my early music. I didn't even think about it. I didn't realise how much that affected me until I left Ireland, and then I really had to play folk music. And I spent about 10 years just writing and playing folk and going to folk clubs all over England, and really learning about songs and how they travel around the British Isles and travel around the world. They know no national boundaries. And that's a wonderful experience, and I learned a lot from that. And I think I write much better from that kind of learning curve.
I think it's time you played something.
Great, I'd love to. Yeah, I shall play you the title track from this little album called "The Return of the Captain." When the captain came home from the war, he was tired of fighting and more. He was tired of fracture within his own land. He was tired of holding his slender right hand up to say when the captain's wife came to his side. She came with her love to abide by a promise that she'd made to him, one the passage of time had never worn thin, and her touch said and he said, hold me, my love, hold my aching heart. This fractured land is corroding, breaking my mind, and my body is falling apart. The captain's wife walked to the yard. She looked at the ground and she looked in her heart. One ray of light shone through the sky. One bluebird flew into sight, and the song that it sang was enough. Oh, he said, hold me, my love, hold my aching heart. This fractured land is corroding, breaking my mind, and my body is falling apart. Oh, hold me, my love, hold my aching heart. This fractured land is corroding, breaking my mind, and my body is falling, it's falling apart. Oh, and the song that the bluebird sang was enough.
Gosh, that's powerful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's your CD.
Yeah, that's the title track, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's me trying to work out what the heck is going on during lockdown, really. You know, there's lots of those themes in there.
Yeah,
you know.
I wondered what the inspiration was behind it.
Yeah. And you know, hope, you know. I borrowed the little bluebird from Over the Rainbow, you know, because I love it as a trope, you know. But also, you know, I'm trying to, you know, you hope that your efforts will have some positive effect, you know, and that something that you do will be enough in some way, you know, to help, you know, you know, talking about just family and just life in general in these challenging times for so many reasons. So, yeah. So rather than having a political rant, I write songs, and sometimes like it's really tricky to talk about things going on, and so you like find yourself putting it in a mythic place or something, you know. So that's what was kind of going on with that one.
Yeah. Yes. It's perhaps less frightening for people if you couch things in general terms rather than actually stand up and shout at them.
Exactly. Yeah, and hopefully like more widely relatable, you know, as well, so that it's not just about something, and it never is just about something you heard on the news or whatever, or those particular moments. Hopefully, like your songwriter's always trying to dig in a little bit deeper and find some more themes that are always there, I suppose, you know.
When did the songwriting start, Gus?
The day I got a guitar when I was 14. Yeah, I had no idea how to play it, but I just started like moving my fingers around the frets and warbling words, because it just seemed that that's what one should do with a guitar, you know. So yeah, I've always been trying to songwrite, you know, and I like to think I've got better at it over the years.
It's not easy, I think.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't, you know. Yeah, it's a very odd thing, because it really isn't. Like it can. I never sit down and think like I'm going to write a song now. I just allow it to happen, and I've always had that kind of intuitive approach to it. But then there's times when, yeah, you know, you feel that songs are coming, but they just won't. And then sometimes they jump out like 3 of them in a day, and then there's nothing for months. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah. I think it must be even more difficult to be a novelist, because you can't really write 3 of those in a day, can you?
Yeah, I try to think. I mean, one of the things that I did since we last spoke on the show was I did a university course. I'd never been to university because I was my career was in construction, because I was always, you know, had to pay the rent and that kind of thing. So I had the opportunity. I was living by myself, and I was able to go to university. So it did, and I did a course in creative writing and English lit. So there was lots of, and I mean, being a novelist is something that I really admire novelists, and I love reading novels, but it would really frighten me to try and have to do something like that, you know.
Gosh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I really admire the skills and the dedication that people have to immerse themselves in that world. And you know, I believe novelists are difficult to live with, and I can understand that, because I'm difficult enough when I'm trying to write songs, you know. So, yeah.
Songwriters, difficult to live with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Oh, goodness me.
All kinds of writers.
Let's hear something else then. Let's hear your next
Oh,
song.
yeah, great.
Yeah. I really ought to remind everybody that I'm Genevieve Tudor, and my guest is Gus Glynn, who's going to give you a second song. It's a bit like Desert Island Discs, this is.
Yeah. So this one's called Salt Water. I grew up by the sea. It's got something to do with that, but I don't, you know, I try to let other people do the thinking about what it's about, not all the time, you know. So this is Salt Water. Here I am, Lady Winter, caught on the hem of your dress. Knew you were waiting, darker sister, couldn't have been anybody else. How I rock, how I roll, like a dinghy on the water. What's this deal I've been sold? Tastes like water, tastes like salt water. Look at me now, Lady Winter, not caught me at my best. Blood is blood, darker sister, and the cause is anybody's guess. How I rock, how I roll, like a dinghy on the water. What's this drag on my soul? I see my father, I taste salt water. Vehicle from one world to the next. If we believe in each other, will there be a connect? How I rock, how I roll, like a dinghy on the water. Never believe in anybody else's code. I see my daughter, I taste salt water. How I roll, like a dinghy on the water. What's this deal I've been sold? Tastes like water, tastes like salt water.
And that's another one from your new album.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
An album of 7 songs that I recorded at Foxbarn Studios with Daniel J. Logan, and my buddy, best musical buddy, Pete Atwood, plays bass on some of the tracks. Dan plays some percussion on some of the tracks, but it's very acoustic. There's a little bit of electric guitar on one of the tracks as well, which is a bit more experimental type of thing.
So this isn't with your band?
No. The Gus Glynn Band is a much more rock kind of project. But you can find lots of information on both of those because everything's on the Gus Glynn website. So there's a website called gusglynn.com where you can buy solo stuff and you can buy band stuff because there's different pages. There's a solo page, there's a band page, and the album will be available on the solo page from tomorrow.
Oh, perfect timing.
Great.
How did we do that?
I know, it was very, very well choreographed.
And I was just congratulating myself because, of course, it was St. Patrick's Day on Friday. And I was thinking, well, I need some Irish music. And here you are.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you must have been very popular for the last week. And because St. Patrick's Day...
I have been busy, yes.
I bet.
Yes. I played a really enjoyable gig on Thursday night, the night before St. Patrick's Day, in Levensham, in a little bar called Fred's Ale House. And it was Manchester Irish Festival got in touch and asked me to play this gig. And it was so nice because it wasn't too busy. There was lots of people in there, but it wasn't too busy. And they were all listening. And some of the stuff they were singing too as well. But it was great. They really let me deliver the songs. And I love to do that, like Irish folk songs that I love. I mean, some of them still make me emotional, you know, and I have to practice them so they don't blub when I'm singing them. You know, it's weird, isn't it? Like, I think it's because it's like it goes so far back with me, you know. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then it was a bit crazier on St. Patrick's night. I was in Liverpool. It was still very enjoyable, but you can imagine there was a lot of peripheral craziness going on all over the place. So it was a busy pub and it was very loud, but it was still good fun, you know. We still managed to connect with people and have good fun, have a bit of crack.
Yeah, it's lovely when people actually sit and listen to your songs,
amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And
I stayed later and played a couple of Trade the Lakes Upon Church Rain, you know, because they just wanted to hear some more traditional stuff, you know. Yeah.
But it's one of Ireland's best exports, isn't it, the music?
It is, yeah. It really is. And it's...
And it pervades the whole of the country as well, unlike in England when you don't hear traditional music randomly on the radio. It's a specialist programme like me.
Yes, that's very true. And that's why, you know, it's one of the reasons I'm very grateful to be able to come on a show like this, because it has those genuine connections. And yeah, like traditional English music, like it's got a real strong flavour of its own. I really like that. And there's loads of great acts that you play that I could sit and listen to all night, you know, anytime. So it's an interesting thing, you know, in England. Some English people that I've met didn't know that there's such a rich lore of folk music in England. Like, there's so much of it, there's loads of it when you go looking, you know. So it's an interesting thing. We're more aware of it in Ireland, possibly because we weren't supposed to have it for a long time, you
right.
know. So you cling on to it more, don't you?
Yeah.
And you appreciate it, you know.
Yeah.
So the fact that we had to kind of share our culture on the sly, that you know, it's a funny contradiction, you know, that it kept it stronger in a way.
That's an interesting thought. Yes.
Yeah. I think that has something to do with it. Yeah. If you try to take something away from people, they'll value it. You know. So yeah, I think that's part of it. You know.
Excellent. Right, would you like to play another one?
Yeah, sure. I might have to tune a little bit here.
Oh my goodness. Live radio tuning.
Live chain, yeah. Everybody loves to hear the guitar player tuning.
Unless it's Martin Carthy. I do joke.
I'd be happy to listen to Martin Carthy tune. Yeah, he can do anything on his guitar,
yes.
As far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, this is a song that I've been playing for probably about 10 years. I chose these songs on this little album quite carefully because I just thought I just wanted something to sit together quite nicely. And this one, I wrote about 10 years ago. And I don't always get a chance to play it because it's quite quiet and fingerpicky. So at intimate gigs, I like to play it. It's called Wide Open Stream, so I'll give it a little roll. Floating about on a cloud, you've been floating about till now. You've got a lot on your mind. We're gonna leave it all alone for a while. You may have been told that it's all just for show. But if you need a light, like a sailor in the night, there's a place where the stream is wide open tonight. Oh, you've got a hell of a heart. It's been beaten away like a tight drum. You've got a wide open love. It's been calling me to come and get some. You may have been told that it's all about the gold. But if you need to heal, your little heart ain't made of steel. Out ahead for that wide open stream tonight. You may have been told, you might even know. And if you've got a light, like a sailor in the night, we can ride on that wide open stream for a while.
That's lovely, delicate little
It is
tune.
a delicate little thing, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I think of that one as like a healing song, you know.
Yeah.
I think I wrote it when I needed a bit of healing, so I created some. So,
Excellent
yeah.
idea. Gus, we can find you on your website, gusglynn.com, was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly right, and I'm on all the usual freebie places and stuff, and there's some YouTube channels as well. But you'll find it by putting my name in those places. Yeah, I think that's everywhere. I'm on Bandcamp, the dreaded one we won't name. I won't mention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other streaming services
The
are
streaming
available.
services, yes, indeed. Yeah, they are. And Yeah, one day musicians will be paid in the future. Although I often think that I think Mick Jagger put his finger on it when he said there was a very short space in time where musicians got paid for what they do, and they were lucky enough to be part of that. So, but I mean, in some ways, I think it's kind of back to where it should be, where it's all about playing live, because that's how it should be anyway. You sing for your supper, and I quite like that.
A troubadour.
Yeah, I quite like it. So,
well, thanks very much for coming in and being our token Irishman on the nearly St Patrick's Day show.
Yes, yeah, it was a great weekend for the Irish. Rugby and all. It's been very good.
Excellent.
So thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So, I mean, I don't know how long we've got with the programme, but try not to make it, hang on, 9, 10, however many years it was since you last came in.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to come back. I'll come back next week if you want.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Lovely to see you again, Gus.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Genevieve. I really appreciate it.